Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. In today's update I finished the city square and it's really making me happy. What a great hobby Lego is, eh? When you have a vision and it actually turns out like how you planned. So my square, or is it a plaza, probably a Platz because it's Dutch, I don't know. Anyways, I wanted to have a monument which is on the left there, and a water feature, and some benches, and another monument on the right. I always had it in mind to have in the corners some old school Lego trees, and you might be familiar with those tall cypress trees. We've had them since 1983, so older than me. They were my sisters, and they've been in the collection ever since, so it was great to actually use them in the city. I suppose the standout features are the monuments themselves, this tall one which is meant to be a war memorial, and I have populated the pathways around the plaza with the Big Bang Theory minifigures. So Amy here is photographing Sheldon. I love the printing on this figure. And of course Sheldon, here he is with his sort of iconic Flash t-shirt. On the other side is Penny and Leonard, and they're just admiring the wagon. Leonard's t-shirt design is pretty neat, and Penny's just Penny, I suppose. She's kind of generic. And then Howard taking a photo of Bernadette. Gosh, I hate this character. He is a mega creep. He'd for sure get cancelled in 2024. The Bernadette figure though is one of my favourites. The printing, the design is excellent. And last we have Raj here. He's still got his luggage. He's kind of the third wheel without a partner. I quite like his torso printing, the jumper or the t-shirt underneath is pretty cool. I do have benches built on here, but I haven't yet put people on them. I might in future. And there's a spot on the bridge too with no one on it yet, so again for the future. I wanted to use those Big Bang figures somewhere though, as I broke down the set for parts, and to be honest, I'm not a big fan of the show. When you actually watch it, the laugh track is bloody awful. It's not that funny a show, it's just geek culture references for the sake of references. Sheldon is a total douchebag and would be fired on his first date at work. Howard is a sex pest and in real life would be on some kind of register. Penny would be on OnlyFans, and all the male characters are just selfish douchebags. Anyways, at the time it was a cool set and Lego had never done anything like it, so I'm kind of glad I got it, but I'm totally done with it. So the cast now are on their holidays in the Netherlands. Back to the plaza, I filmed a bit outside for the light, and you can see the base of the monument and these lovely tiles so much better. The sand green colour is very close to the green coloured pattern on the tiles. I wanted to give some decent height to the wagon monument, so I built a masonry brick base first and then I added the platform on top. The wagon itself is an original design by myself. I did copy some photos of real wagons and used larger wheels at the back, and the tiled sidebars used printed timber pieces from the Ideas Fish Shack from a few years ago, and I've put some crates and barrels on it. Hey, I appreciate this is a Lego YouTube video, but a wee boring history lesson alert, as you might be wondering why on earth is there a wagon like this in my city? Well, this is meant to be a Voortrekker wagon, which was used by the Afrikaans settlers in the Great Trek of 1836 onwards. They had mostly covered wagons, but I didn't want to mess about with fabrics and stuff, so I made it without. These wagons are very similar to the ones used in the US during the westward expansions in the 1800s, and the Great Trek has a similar story in South Africa, where white Afrikaners, who were the descendants of the Dutch settlers, moved north and east to be free of British rule. So in my city, this is a monument to those Voortrekkers as they were known, and this is a kind of a big deal in my family as our ancestors were the Voortrekkers and helped found modern day South Africa, so it's a homage to them. And I think it adds something totally unique to my city with proper meaning. History lesson over. Sorry if you're kind of like, what the hell am I talking about here? But anyway, back to the actual Lego. And another little reference to South Africa is the new billboard which I made, which is for Oma Rusks. I just cut out the box and the text in it is in Afrikaans, which is similar to Dutch. It just says condensed milk flavoured rusk, which is a family favourite in our house. I made a basic frame using plates with tiles on the edge on the front, and I blue tacked the cardboard in place. Nothing fancy, it's as easy peasy as you can get, but it works, and it hides what I think is an uglier side of the corner garage. I also got time to print off a Pan Am logo too for the seaplane jetty, but I will again be redoing this in future, this whole area, and I'll make a ticket office instead, but for now it looks okay. So back to the Plaza, the pond. It uses parts from their friend's botanical garden set and has koi carp in the bottom, and I put the fountain section in the middle. This sign is also from the set, and the planning feature as well is that I could even put a Christmas tree in the middle instead of the fountain, so I'll do that in December. That botanical set is a brilliant set. I love the plants, and the bench build is great, so I've got them both here. I love the snakes which are used for the ironwork, it's cool. And these boxes here are from the Chinese restaurant, so I popped some water pieces in the middle, kinda neat as an additional water fountain. It's simple again, but it works. Right, well, the tiles. Now, yes, this is not Lego. Dun dun dun. Oh no, how dare I use alternative bricks? Well, yes, they are from AliExpress, and I didn't just get them because they were cheap, because they weren't really cheap. I got them because they're different, and they match the vision I had in my head about an ornate European feel, and Lego just don't make stuff like this. One downside is you can't put jumper plates down or studs for figs to stand on. I mean, well, you could, but you'd have to put white ones down, and I suppose that kind of ruins the pattern. But, you know, it doesn't really matter. So for that reason, I haven't put any figures on it, as I want to see the pattern. And that's why the Big Bang figures are on the pathway. But in future and at shows, I will blue tack some figures in the middle, and then you'll still be able to see the pattern, and hopefully you won't see the blue tack. I had to measure out exactly to get the pattern to work and be uniform, so even the platform is in the same sequence. And I love it. I think it's so different and unique, and that's what it's all about. That's the whole point of my city, is to make something that's different that you've never seen before. So prices, it was £2.25 for 50 pieces, not including postage. I got 200 for £10.80, but in the end I needed another 3 packs, so £17.60 in total, just for the parts to tile the Plaza. It's a bit expensive, but I got a good deal on postage because I bought other parts. If that were real Lego, you could probably double that price, not including postage. And you know, they don't even make anything similar, so I'm pretty happy with getting these things from AliExpress. So you might recognize this. Yes, it's the base of the bonsai tree, a great set. I used all the brown tiles on the jetty and the wagon, and that base to me was perfect for the wagon to go on top. Although I've recolored it with sand green curved tiles and some gold pieces. There's some of those printed tiles as well, and I made gaps for the wheels at the bottom there, which holds the wagon in place like so. And you can what, I could even put it at an angle on here. I don't know, I mess around with it a bit, but a few options. It's not static, it's not stuck in place. Oh, and there's a plaque here. In future I will print a sign off saying Voortrekker wagon. I made the wagon to fit the bonsai tree base, but it could have done with being bigger. It would have been cool to add a pair of oxes or horses, but in the end that would just take up too much space, and it's just perfect on that base. For the wagon build, I did put a wee pickaxe for gold mining at the back there. Off to Johannesburg they are. And there's a horse whip and a flagpole. Yeah, I'm happy with it. So the other monument, I suppose it's kind of a war memorial, I'm not really sure. I was going to put a minifigure on top here. I still could, though it's just a gold jumper plate on the top. I wanted to just make it out of tan coloured pieces, sand green and gold. So there's these gold wing pieces and lots of other gold parts. I used Ninjago blades on each side here just to give it a bit of flair to the design. It was very simple to build really. I used masonry bricks in the base, but this core structure here was made using panel bricks, and it's actually hollow inside here. The wagon does go on the roads, it just fits. I was messing about with it earlier, driving it about to see if it would fit in the city. Kinda looks nice going down the cobbled streets, I suppose wagons would have done back in the day. Over at the back of the city there, I have moved a few buildings around. These narrow, tall ones have shifted it in place, and that's because I felt the Al's fish shop, which is quite tall, it looked better on the left, and I was just experimenting around, and this just looks better to me. I've ended up with the rooftop sort of descending in height, so the new buildings which will be on the right there won't be short, they'll be quite tall, and the sanctum will be a floor taller also. So as I pull back here, as you approach the city, when you come in the room, yeah, those taller, narrow buildings look great on the left. And you know, now with the city plaza in place, it's got a real finished look about it. The bridge looks nice, and the consulate building with the Chinese restaurant fits in here. The sand green was definitely the right accent colour to use in the city plaza with those tiles. And the sand blue path that works alongside it well. I wonder what you think. Is it too cluttered? Maybe just one monument, or should I have continued the path from the bridge right through the middle? I'd love to hear what you think. For the rest of the city, there's so much still to do, but the front section is getting closer and closer to completion. My big deadline is the middle of October 2024, so I'm trying to get this front area finished for then. As that's the next big Lego show that I'm going to hopefully take this whole thing over to and have it on display, so I'm quite excited about that. As I was saying earlier, I got this out into the garden to get some decent light on it, and gosh, what a difference. It is a bit tricky to film on the grass though, and the weather has been so unreliable this summer. Hey, that's Scotland, you know. Summer is usually a few days in August. But this is how a real city plaza would look in natural light with the shadows and all that, so I wanted to see what it looked like. Anyways, thanks so much for joining me, thanks for watching until the end, lots of stuff still to do, and hopefully you can join me in the next video. See ya, bye!